Tanya ain't started yelling at me yet. I just called Patriots. I said, "Where the captions at?" Oh my gosh, did you see me? I think the other day. It's on the agenda. Sorry, come on. I'm gonna call the Tuesday, January 10th, Dumfries Town Council meeting of 2023 to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilman Fields,
Here.
Councilman Pete,
Here.
Councilwoman Miles,
Present.
Councilwoman Nickerson,
Present.
Councilman Brown,
Present.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Present.
Mayor Wood.
Present.
Sir, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Just want to first start off by saying just Happy New Year to everybody. It's good to see the year off. Somebody asked me, has it been a busy year? And I think we're already off to a fast start, and we're only 10 days into this new year. I know words can't fully express the grief and the anger that many of our community and around the region have been feeling, but I want to once again offer our condolences at the start of this meeting and ask that as we have this moment of silence, that we have a prayer of reflection, that we not only pray for these families that have lost members to gun violence, but we continue to pray for the mental health of our community, that we pray for the softening of hearts, that we pray for just a sense of peace and a sense of love that would just continue to come over, and that, you know, we can fill the hearts and minds of the people in their consciousness with love. So let's have a moment of silent prayer and reflection as we start. Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any amendments or changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move item number 9, the discussion of appointments of specific public officers up to item number 5 on the agenda, and move everything down in sequence.
Okay. So next on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Second.
Okay. That was a motion and a second. All right. Any discussion or debate? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Aye.
Councilman Brown? Aye. Ms. Nickerson?
Yes.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. All right, so next on our agenda, then I will read the closed session proclamation. Whereas the Town Council of Dumfries desires to discuss in closed meeting the following matters. One, personnel matter.
So she specifically just about
Yeah,
the
we're just-
appointment, so we're gonna do all of that when everybody sits out here.
Yeah, that's what they voted for. Like,
So all of that.
Mhm.
You wanna do all of it?
yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Whereas the Dumfries Town Council desires to discuss closed meeting the following matters. One, personnel matter relating to the search of a town manager. One, personnel matter relating to the consideration of appointment of acting town manager. One, personnel matter relating to consideration of appointment of specific officers, and one, legal advice related to the foregoing. And whereas pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711 Alpha 1 and 8, such discussions may occur in closed session. So now therefore be it resolved on a motion made by myself that the Town Council
Second.
of Dumfries authorize on a any discussion on the motion in the second? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Councilman Brown? Yes. Ms. Nicholson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles.
Aye.
Mr. Pete,
Yes.
Mr. Fields.
Yes.
So yes for me, that motion will convene immediately over in the session. Whereas the Town Council of Dumfries has convened in closed session on January 10th, 2023, and an affirmative vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and with Virginia Code 2.2-3712 requires certification by the Town Council that such closed session was conducted according to Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of Dumfries hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting, to which this certification resolution applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered by the Town Council. On a motion made by myself,
Second.
second by Ms. Nickerson, following resolution is adopted by vote. All right, Councilwoman Mouse,
Aye.
Mr. Pete,
Yes.
Mr. Fields.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Nickerson.
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. It passed. All right, are there any action or motions from the closed session? Okay, I'll make the first motion. First motion to direct the town manager to execute a contract with Fahrenheit Advisors to conduct a search for a town manager.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Brown. Okay, any discussion on that motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the question. Mr. Fields,
Yes.
Mr. Pete,
Yes.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
Ms. Nickerson,
Yes.
Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Peterson.
Aye.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. All right. Next motion that we'll make is to appoint Jonay Prevost White as our acting town manager, effective. We say the 15th, February 15th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Brown. All right, any discussion on that motion, debate? Okay, seeing done, I'll call for Ms. Peterson.
Aye.
Mr. Brown. Aye. Ms. Nickerson.
Yes.
Ms. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Pete.
Yes.
Mr. Fields.
Yes.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries. All right, 7-0. All right, next motion is motion to approve with amendment to appoint Monet Nickerson as the vice mayor.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, Mr. Fields,
Yes.
Mr. Pete,
Yes.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
Ms. Nickerson,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Peterson.
Aye.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. Any other motions from the closed session? To make? No. Okay. Seeing none, next on our agenda is awards and proclamations. Our first proclamation is declaring Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the Woodbridge, Virginia chapter. All right. You want to read that? Please? You said it.
Proclamation to declare Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Woodbridge, Virginia Chapter Charter Day. Whereas Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated was founded on January 5th, 1911, on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, by 10 astute men, the late Reverend founder Elder Watson Diggs, John Milton Lee, Brian K. Armstrong, Guy Levis Grant, Ezra D. Alexander, Henry T. Asher, Marcus B. Blackmore, Paul W. Kane, Edward G. Irving, and George W. Edmonds. Whereas the Woodbridge, Virginia alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi was established on February 1st, 1998. And whereas the chapter's major objective and commitment is to inspire service in the public interest, the chapter is merely the bridge that connects all areas in their immediate reach to keep the community informed and involved in all aspects of collaboration, which ultimately creates secure transparency with the county leaders across the board. Whereas the guide Right Kappa League program is the Woodbridge, Virginia Alumni Chapter most prized community initiative that guides the youth of Prince William County in many facets of their lives throughout mentoring, college preparatory programs, tutoring, and the flagship initiative of the Guide Right Service Program is the Kappa Leadership Development League, known as Kappa League. Whereas Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated has supported the scholastic endeavors of students and provided over 85,000 in educational scholarships and tutoring services to local students throughout various programs. And whereas the Brothers of the Woodbridge Alumni Chapter have initiated several community service, political and social action, and scholarship support activities. Whereas through its Kappa Foundation of Woodbridge, the chapter has sponsored golf tournaments to raise money to fund academic scholarships, participates in Project Menda House, the Friendly Visitor Program of Prince William County, Northern Virginia Special Olympics, Prince William County Adopt a Highway Program, voter registration, St. Jude, and provides turkey bags and dinners through the holiday season. And whereas the town of Dumfries appreciates the efforts of this great fraternity and their contributions to our youth and community. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Town Council of Dumfries, Virginia, do hereby proclaim January 5th, 2023, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Woodbridge, Virginia Chapter Day in the town of Dumfries for their years of commendable service in Prince William County and the town of Dumfries. We furthermore encourage all citizens of the town of Dumfries to embrace the fraternity's motto of achievement in every field of human endeavors. By order of council, signed Mayor Derek Wood.
Greetings, Mayor, Town Council. On behalf of the Woodbridge Alumni Chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi, and our poll mark, Damian Williams, thank you for the proclamation.
Next on our agenda is a proclamation declaring Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter Day. Brothers, all of y'all can come stand up there if y'all want.
Whereas on January 18, 2020, the town of Dumfries unanimously declared January 9, 2023, its Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter Day to recognize over 13 years of active service in Prince William County. And this past year in the town of Dumfries, Virginia, through their education, bigger and better business and social action programs. And whereas the town of Dumfries recognizes Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter for its commitment to a culture for service. And whereas Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter has supported the scholastic endeavors of students and provided over $10,000 in educational scholarships. And through its Sigma Beta Club, the chapter's youth auxiliary has mentored and advised over 20 young men through this past year of the pandemic and assisted in various aspects of young adulthood. And whereas Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter, through its Bigger, Better Business program, has continually supported local Dumfries businesses with sustainment funds from Brothers of Omicron Zeta Sigma patronizing local establishments and vendors. And whereas Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter has performed over 2,000 community service hours in the town of Dumfries, supporting homeless and lower income families, advocating community law enforcement relations, and promoting better health and wellness for town of Dumfries citizens through local and national programs. And whereas Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter has participated and contributed greatly to such events as the March for Babies with $2,108 raised, Relay for Life with over 100 laps and $300 raised, Juneteenth Parade, support of Serve and provided holiday meals to families, Souls to Polls, second year with 5 locations supported with Brothers Supporting Voters. And whereas the town of Dumfries supports the academic achievement of its students, the growth of the town of Dumfries businesses, and the general health and welfare of its citizens. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Town Council of Dumfries, Virginia, do hereby proclaim January 9th, 2023, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., Omicron Zeta Sigma Chapter of Prince William County Day in the town of Dumfries in celebration of over 13 years of commendable service in Prince William County and the town of Dumfries. We furthermore encourage all citizens of the town of Dumfries to embrace the fraternity's motto of culture for service and service for humanity.
To the town council and citizens here of Dumfries, greetings and thank you all very much. On behalf of the brothers of Omicron Zeta Sigma, we truly appreciate serving the communities of Prince William County, our brothers here in Dumfries, to include the good mayor, Brother Derek Wood, and all of our brothers here. Thank you all for recognizing what we do, and we look forward to working with the town of Dumfries in the future. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is the approval of our December council minutes.
Motion.
Say again. Mr. Pete moved,
Second.
second. All right, any discussion, any debate? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the question.
Abstain.
You abstaining? Okay.
Yes.
So yes for Mr. Brown?
I abstain. I wasn't present for the meeting.
Okay,
Aye.
speak.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries 5 with 2 abstentions. All right, next on the agenda is citizen comment period. Are there any citizens signed up to speak today? Our citizens, they have 2 minutes with the clerk. Keep in time. Please state your name, your address, and your topic. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. The first tonight is Miss Ebony Lofton, and she's speaking on various topics.
Good evening, council. My name is Ebony Lofton. I live on Milroy Drive. I didn't realize the time had changed from 3 minutes. First, I wanted to say to you, Mayor Wood, it looked as if you all had a nice time at the topping off ceremony, only a day after the tragic mass shooting that happened right here in the town of Dumfries. It's a shame that you were a bit silent when your community needed you the most, only 2 days later to come out and call it a safety incident. I was also disappointed to have received a rude and dismissive email from Vice Mayor Nickerson telling me that I don't need to copy her on emails. I wonder, Vice Mayor, if you remember that it was you who encouraged me to run as a write-in back in 2020. And your response that I was trying to litigate an election that happened 2 months ago is ridiculous. I simply wanted a refund. In 2021, the town's audit was provided just minutes before the meeting. The town manager said he would bring the auditors back that year, but it didn't happen. I'd like to know if an audit has been initiated and when will the public receive a copy? In the spirit of transparency, it should be presented in open session. I'm happy to see that someone caught the error of holding a council meeting before the swearing-in ceremony as the law requires. Congrats to each of you. It looked like you had a nice ceremony. Congrats are also in order to Chief Gallion and Sergeant Torres on their recent nuptials. I'm curious to know if the town's fraternization policy has changed, as it's quite unusual for 2 members of a police department to be allowed to work together as a couple. I hope that the town manager might be able to explain this to the public. I thank you so much for your time.
Is anyone else signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. Angelique, and is this Carol's? I'm sorry. Angelica?
No, oh, no.
Okay, my apologies. Okay, Miss Torre. Snipperly?
Good evening, Council. Neville Teray, 18138 Tibbs Lane, Dumfries, Virginia. And I came to speak on various things. First of all, congratulations to all of those that were appointed, and it was a great ceremony on the other day. Secondly, I'm without words and feel sorrow for all that has gone on with the tragic incident that happened in the neighborhood. However, I stand to speak that as long as I've been living here for the last 6, 7 years, and with our police force that we have now, that they are an exceptional group of people, that they are always out, they are always about, and this happened to be just a domestic misunderstanding that has happened, that has plagued our community, and no blame should be going around blaming our police officers for not doing their job. Also, for those that are out there making those statements, I hope you are out there supporting this family because they need all the love and support to get through this tragic incident that has happened. So I stand before you today just to let everyone know I'm thinking about their family. If it's anything that they need, if they have come to council, it is people out in the community that want to help. So if you can shed some light on if we could be a blessing to them, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else signed up to speak?
Mr. Larry Nickerson.
Good evening, council and members of the community. I stand before you with a heavy heart as well. I am deeply saddened by the events that happened. We know that it was a disturbed individual who is not a member of this community. And had it not been for the actions of our police force, there's a good chance that that young man wouldn't have gotten caught within the hour. There's a lot of positive energy in this town. There's a lot of growth that has happened. There's a lot of growth to continue happening. And it's the strongest economically that this town has ever been. I am so tired of all the negative energy about our town management. And that's for those in this room and those that are listening at home. The fact that people are questioning our town management, the qualifications of our staff, the ability of our police department to be real officers or to carry out their jobs is beyond disgusting. I've been here since 2007. I've seen the growth from this department. I've had the conversations with our police chief one-on-one for hours about how to build these bridges and make our kids feel comfortable about interaction with these officers. I know that they sincerely want to be connected with our community. What happened was not avoidable because no one saw that coming. So I would encourage you, for those of you that have been in this town and have not had anything to say for the last 10 or 12 years, that want to do all this speaking up now, get involved in a more positive way and support this council. Thank you.
Is there anyone else signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. Carrie Smith. And she'll be speaking regarding parade feedback, curb painting, etc., and Williamstown community questions.
Hello, my name's Carrie Smith. I live at Fort Fisher Court in Williamstown. I am speaking on behalf of the new HOA president for our community. A little bit of feedback for the parade. We do have a Facebook page. We didn't get a lot of negative feedback, but one thing we did hear is if we could have a little more communication with the planners, just so I can get information out to my town, my community in enough time, because we don't all work Monday through Friday, 9-to-5 jobs. So it kind of caused a little bit of panic for my community. But I think even just talking with Ms. Hill today, like, we love that the community, they're working with us, and we really appreciate that. One thing that has been brought to a complaint is some of our curbs are no longer yellow. And so I'm not really sure who to reach out to with the community, because I know it's on Old Triangle Road, and I know that's the town's road. So if someone could help me with that. And then I know we have the meeting tomorrow for town safety that will be happening, and we'll be there. But I wanted to let you all know that we do want to work with the town and with the police department as Williamstown to make sure that we are trying to keep, along with the HOA, the rest of the HOA, to keep the community safe. But we're going to need y'all's help to do so for my community. Yes, and that's all I think I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's the last person that signed up to speak on tonight.
Was there anyone that came in late that needed the opportunity to sign in? Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the mayor and the council comments. All right. All right, Mr. Brown, do you have any comments tonight?
Yeah, I don't have any pre-comments, but I would like to say that this community goes beyond HOAs. This is the town of Dumfries. And where something happens in a small area of the town, it affects the whole town. Making decisions, making comments out of emotions is one thing, but we have to look at the root cause of what's happening. And it's not just in Dumfries, it's all over this country. This council has brought things to the forefront as guns and buyback program for guns, and it wasn't received well as I thought it should be. Just so happened this young man shouldn't have had a gun. Just so happened this young man is not a resident of Dumfries. Our community is no better than the citizens that make it up. I can put a police officer in front of your house, and if you're having domestic violence in your house, something can happen, that police be outside. So that's not the total answer here. What I want to say is that if we want to make this community better, then we have to be neighborly, know our neighbors, reach out when there's issues in our neighborhood, and not just depend on the police department, the council, the mayor, the vice mayor. That's not how this works. Now, I'm about resolving things, not just about talking about them. So we want to get together and discuss some proactive things that we can do in this community to curb the crime. And by the way, it is not the highest crime rate in this area. So we take an action and we try to prevent something that's already happened. Too late, it's happened. So how we prevent that from happening again? So that's the question for all of us as citizens of Dumfries. What do we see that we can put in place to prevent things? And there's a lot of ways we can go with this, but we want to be efficient, proficient, and we want to be mindful of resources and how we do this. But I would say from my perspective, as citizens, we need to be neighborly, find out what's going on with our neighbors, be vigilant in our neighborhood for its watches, know who's coming in and out, and report that to the police. I've got a report for all of the actions that happened in the last 6 months. I think the town manager sent me all of the incidents that happened in this area that police will call out for. There's a lot of domestic violence. There's a lot of petty traffic stops, things, but that's not the biggest piece that we should be focused on. So I would say if we can get together, and I think there's a meeting tomorrow, and discuss some things that we can actually implement, that we citizens can come together and agree on and implement it. And I yield back.
Councilman Mouse.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. I would like to begin by offering my condolences to the Carol Gatling family, and just want to let them know that we are sending prayers of comfort for their loss. And we're also praying for the recovery of the other victims that were affected. Sadly, gun violence has become a national crisis, and we are impacted just as our neighbors are. We're not the exception, sadly. But even though we are not the exception, we can never become so numb to it that we accept it as our new normal. So going into this new year, we're going to start this new year by empowering our community. And our first act of empowerment will be this public safety town hall that we are scheduled for tomorrow evening at the former rescue squad. The address is 3800 Grand Park Road. and will start at 7 p.m. Now, our police department has already taken innovative steps to keep this community safe. And I know that they continue to evolve to meet the challenge under this current climate. And tomorrow, as you come out, you'll be able to hear about all the things that they're doing to keep all of us safe. And additionally, we know that acts of violence are actually caused by other elements. So it doesn't just start with the guns in particular. There are other social ills that generally lead to these things. So we do, as a community, have other resources that can aid in that. So we will have representatives from ACTS present that will talk to you about community resources that are present in case you're in crisis, or if you have a family member, a friend, or someone that is in crisis. There are resources available, and we're going to talk about how you can access those resources. And again, this is the first of many opportunities that we'll have to empower the community and tell you about what's out there. If you are not available, again, have no fear. We're going to do this throughout the year. It's all about making sure we take back our community and make sure that we're all safe. So on another note, I did have the honor of being sworn in this weekend for another 4 years. I'm looking forward to serving this community and continuing to make Destination Dumfries a reality. I've also been reappointed to MVTA's PSAC, where I've served the last 4 years as the vice chairman, built relationships across this region. We have contributed to Destination Dumfries. As you all know, that board played an integral part in making sure that we were able to secure funding for the Route 1 widening project that had been in the works for decades past. And I am a proud advocate for our town whenever I'm in the room, and I'll continue to be. In addition to that, I am a proud member of the National Black Caucus of Local Elected Officials, and also a part of the Women's Caucus. Y'all might know the second vice president of that board as well. And why is that important? Well, because on those boards, since they are through the National League of Cities, it gives us an opportunity to advocate on a federal level. So that's when we get an opportunity to influence federal policy, when we need what we need to go and influence policy and say, hey, guns are a problem in my community. My community is suffering with guns. My community needs better funding for education. My community needs access to better healthcare. And I promise during these next 4 years, when I'm in these rooms, I am going to be the strongest advocate for the town of Dumfries. We've already demonstrated that we know how to get results. So then we're going to take these skills, we want to take these thoughts, and when we're in these rooms, we're going to get results on a federal list. So I promise you, for the next 4 years, when we're in these rooms, we're going to get results for Dumfries. So I'm excited. The future looks bright. Even though we've had a rough couple weeks, we will make progress. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I will yield back.
Mr. Pete.
Happy New Year to all, as we love all. I like that, Vice Mayor. Don't just complain, contribute. I like that. With the incident that occurred this weekend, after the help of my fiance, Miss April Williams, and reaching out to her family members, she helped me locate the phone number to be able to contact the grandmother from that household. And doing some further research, come to find out that grandmother, the 3-year-old, is the cousin of my little brothers. So I have reached out to the grandmother, and she told everybody to stay strong. Now, she was up there with the hospital with the family. The 4 children are doing better now. Not well, but we're on a level of better now. And she did also say, give her a moment and she'll get back with me, because, right now wasn't the time. Out of respect to the family, I'll leave it right there. I did tell you, town manager, as soon as she contacted me, I will get in touch with you, Vice Mayor, you as well, and also the council, so we can see what we can do from our end. Stronger together we are. I would definitely want to thank our police department. Chief, you and your crew, amazing. I definitely want to also Sergeant Robinson for being the first officer on the scene that day. Also, what ways can we come together, and guess we'll get into that tomorrow, of finding out how we can help the town of Dumfries. not just the community, but together as a whole. Definitely in the South Cole area. Not coming at you, but definitely want to help you with safety. Safety is really big with me, starting with our children, on to our seniors, and then, with us, as everyone as a whole. Again, we're stronger together. What are the ways and what are some knowledge or experiments or some pointers you can give to help the town, be a safer town? We looking to create a destination or spot. We also want to make sure that we're safe in the same aspect. Again, some things are a little bit out of our control and out of our hand. And this is one of the situations here. So let's not get too into diving in on each other or trying to pull each other down or bring each other down. Because even when we leave here today, we still have to secure and safeguard this town together. Back in the day, we used to use a alert call. I would like to see if we can bring that back to where we used to use an alert call that would come to the cell phones of our citizens. And maybe we can use that avenue right there to help assist our police officers in catching someone if something happens. So something happens here, town citizens and residents get a call. We may be able to hear something that will help them with their job and also help our town stay in a safe place, because we pretty much have a pretty safe area here, and we want to do what we need to do to continuously together help everyone out as far as keeping the town of Dumfries safe, especially looking out for our children out and about. Happy Martin Luther King's Day as it's coming upon us and everything. And I just want to again say, we are stronger together. And again, Vice Mayor, I like that. Don't just complain, contribute. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Peterson.
I want to send my condolences as well, and I want to thank everyone who voted for me and supported me in the ceremony of my swearing in. Thank you. I'm going to try my best to do my best. Thank you.
Mr. Fields.
Good evening, all. That would help. Good evening, all. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening to all those that came out, all those that are watching. To our new council, congratulations. And yes, the ceremony was outstanding. To be there at the Dumfries Elementary School and to see the outcry and the support that we have for our community, it was definitely an outstanding event. So welcome aboard again for those of you that have been reelected, and to Ms. Peterson, your first time up. Our heart also goes out to the family that is grieving right now, as everyone has already talked about. This is a very tragic event, and let's continue to send prayers, and we'll come together as a community and do what we have to do. The next thing I want to talk about is coming together as a community. It's not happening well enough. Coming together doesn't mean coming here and launching complaints and smear campaigns and complaints again and talk about this, that, or the other. Basically just throwing straight up shade. This ain't the place for no damn shade. This is the place to take care of some business. If you want to throw shade, do like I do. Do it on social media. But you can't handle that. Let us not remember that the community that is in pain right now, that is suffering right now, is your daggone community that you are the HOA president of. You ain't doing a damn thing about it. Yes, I'm sick and tired of the shade. Yes, I'm sick and tired of the complaints. And somebody, God darn, has got to say something about it. And that is me. And you know me very well. When the community has suffered as much as has suffered in your backyard, and all you can do is come to this podium and point the daggone finger, no, the finger's pointing back at that community and who's leading that community. So go back to your community and lead the community the way you're supposed to lead the community, and stop throwing shade on this police department where I spent damn near a decade in that same uniform. And yes, God darn it, I'm the real police, and they are too. Don't take no shade off of them. They do a damn good job. And I worked my ass off cleaning up this community when I was on the board. When I was on the force, and I support them 110%. I got decorum, sir. I got all I need. All I need. But when you're sick and tired of people putting this wonderful establishment that we have here, the town continues to grow and continues to grow, but all we got is FOIA complaints, background checks, secret phone conversations, hundreds of emails to the council about what? What the hell are you looking for? We are doing a damn good job here, and I'm sorry for the expletives, but if you ain't never heard it before, you're going to keep on hearing it from me, because here it is. This is our community. This is our town. We are doing great, and I'm sorry if you don't like it. But if you don't like it, there's other towns out here, but you want to pick on us. We've been elected, re-elected, write-in elected, and elected again. And I think that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Good evening. So first, I want to mirror the sentiments of my council colleagues with regard to my sympathies, thoughts, and condolences for the loss that this community has experienced. I'm not going to belabor any of the points that were already made. I think they were all made very well. I want to thank the community and the residents who voted for me in my second term. I appreciate your continued support and confidence in my abilities to lead the town. I want to also thank my council colleagues for once again appointing me as the vice mayor for my third consecutive term. And I appreciate your faith in me as well to continue to lead the council. I want to let you all know that I'm really excited about the progress that we've made here in the town, and I am committed to continuing to focus on strengthening the town economically to provide resources that will continue to empower our community socially and economically, as well as our families. I encourage all citizens to become more engaged and in the excitement of Dumfries and the growth that we have in front of us. As Councilman Pete has reminded everyone of my motto that I've abided by from the day I decided to get involved. It's not just about complaining, it is also about contributing. Because as we stand up here as elected officials, we are really here to take the beatings. We don't like it, but we take them. We are reminded constantly that we cannot block those who harass us because we are harassed. We are talked about, we are ridiculed, but we are human, okay? And we stand up here and we sacrifice our time and our families to make moves for our community. And as hard as it is sometimes to have decorum, sometimes the emotion just gets to us. And so that results in a responsive email that may be rude because I'm human and I do not apologize for that. That also looks like Councilman Fields up here with his emotion because he is human and I hope he doesn't apologize for that. I say that to say that I do appreciate the citizens who are engaged. I encourage you to continue to engage, to not just complain, but to contribute to the solution. And I look forward to many more years working together. as I am committed to continuing to serve the town of Dumfries both on and off the dais. Because not only do I sit here two meetings a month, but I also participate in many other activities, sit on many other boards that aid the community, that help grow the community, that help me do my job up here with regard to networking across the entire country. As Councilwoman Miles mentioned, for instance, the National League of Black elected officials, that's just a part of it, the National League of Cities. These are all things that we do because what we do different than prior councils is we serve this community on and off the dais. And I'm happy to do that. So thank you for allowing me to continue to do that. I yield.
Thank you for all of your remarks. I usually end with a quote, but I think I'm gonna start with a quote today. Martin Luther King Jr., as Councilman Pete reminded us, his birthday comes up. In one of his sermons on love, he talked about returning hate, but hate, it just multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. So he said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And Dionne Warwick sings one of the songs that we love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Not gonna sing, right?
No, I'm not gonna sing it. Not gonna sing it. But needless to say, I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season and is feeling refreshed now. This is a new year. I hope they're ready to tackle this new year. As you've already heard, we've given condolences. We've had moments of silence. We've got action steps to take. We have a lot of work. Close of the year, I was appointed as the vice president of the Virginia Municipal League and also the second vice president of the National League of Cities, NBC Leo. But to me, what a new year represents is a fresh beginning and a fresh start. And I think as we begin 2023, I'm excited to get to work with this town council that was just sworn in here. And I think it's an opportunity for us as a community to continue building a vibrant, a thriving town that we can all be proud of. So I want to give another congratulations to Councilwoman Peterson. This is her first council meeting today. She's already doing good. And she had the opportunity to attend last week the newly elected conference, the newly elected training conference. I was one of the actual facilitators of that, and I taught a class on how to effectively govern. Yep, last week we also had the topping off ceremony for the Rose Gaming Resort, which in construction is a tradition that occurs when the final structure beam is raised into place, when it completes a building's frame. And so when you're exiting I-95 now onto the Dumfries exit coming from the south, you'll see that the frame of the Rose Hotel is now complete. And they are projecting that the green space and the hotel and everything should be still open by the fourth quarter of this year, showing great progress in economic development and begin to open up an additional 500 new jobs to this community, which is a major to come into this. Also, I had the opportunity after the incident happened to go by Dumfries Elementary School and to just go into the classrooms and to spread a little bit of joy to the kids and spend some time with the principal, do the morning announcements and actually read to the kids. And, and I got an outpouring of the parents whose kids came back and said, hey, I got to shake the mayor's hand to do it. And it just meant all of the world to them and their parents to know that we were there after that and we just showed up. I want to also publicly commend our officers for the time that they got there and the life saving, because we don't think about the mental wellness of just being there and to get on the scene when there's that type of trauma that happens on that, to be first responders, to have to see somebody who is in a situation where their life has to be saved, tourniquet has to be applied, gauze, to be over there and to make sure that they represent and they act fast. And so I want to, just applaud them for just that. Yeah. I believe it was their fast action that prevented many more casualties in that particular situation and was able to get that young man under siege. I want to plug a couple of other events outside of the ones that Councilwoman Miles has. On Monday, January 16th, the Prince William County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated will host the 38th annual Dr. Martin Luther King celebration and the 33rd annual Youth Oratorical Competition. This is a free virtual event that's going to premiere on their YouTube channel. So they pre-recorded that. They used to do it in person, but this will be virtual this year. And it'll be Monday, January 16th at 11 a.m. There are 6 student orators from grades 6 through 12 who are going to deliver some inspirational speeches to address this year's theme. And the theme for the oratorical contest this year is A View of the Promised Land. And so you can log on and subscribe. You can begin to cast votes for your favorite student speaker. And also the Martin Luther King Community Choir, comprised of kids all over this county from grades K through 12, will also perform musical selections for the program. And we have some talented young people in this community. We have some talented young people. And if you heard what I said in my swearing in remarks, it's a huge investment that we have to begin to make in our young people and really getting them involved and bringing them on. Also, the legislative session is kicked off in Richmond this week. Our Virginia Municipal League will host a local government day on Thursday, January 19th down in Richmond. It's a day for all legislators and council to get down and learn how decisions are being made at the General Assembly that might impact us and affect us. And it's a day to allow our voices to be heard and to continue to build with our legislators. Lastly, I just want to continue to say one of my priorities for the new year is focusing on to build a sense of community in our town. I think you heard that as a common theme coming up here. We're stronger together. We're in this together. Whether it's through events that's planned, whether it's through activities, whether it's through volunteering opportunities, right? I think the principal of Potomac told me today when I was at Potomac High School, he said when his staff come to him, he said, bring your complaints with a commitment. It's a new one. He told me, tell his staff, he said, when they bring their complaints, bring a commitment with that. So when you bring your complaints, also bring, what is your commitment to solving that complaint? So it's your volunteering opportunities or just simply getting to know our neighbors. I think strengthening a lot of these neighborhood watch programs, continue to working with our police. If you see something, continue to say something. I know it's people in my community. If one car parks on that street that don't belong there, the whole neighborhood knows about it, and they're not welcome in the neighborhood. And that's the type of neighborly type of things that you need. Everyone looking out for each one. Lastly, I want to thank everyone who's contributed to the success of this town. I want to thank the staff. I want to thank the police department. I want to thank the council, and I want to thank the citizens, everyone who contributes to the success over this town over the past year. I look forward to working together to make 2023 an even better year for our town. Here is to a prosperous journey. And that moves on to our action items on our agenda. And our first action item deals with the resolution to adopt rules of procedure for our town council. All right, so you'll see that Has everyone had the opportunity to look over the current rules and procedures? Were there any proposed changes or adoptions that anybody wanted to make? Vice Mayor?
Yes, let me get my paperwork together.
I know I transitioned pretty fast.
So, in looking at the rules of procedure, I know that none of these rules of procedures are enforceable. This is really just, what we use to govern ourselves as a consensus, as you've said. I'm interested in adding information to these rules of procedures that address attendance, specifically that an absence requires notification to the mayor. And maybe the mayor and the backup person, so maybe the mayor and the town manager, so that coming into the meeting, even if the mayor doesn't have an opportunity to relay that message, at least the town manager and or the town clerk is aware of an absence. It doesn't mean that we have to divulge our personal information, but I do think that it's important that we know coming onto the dais whether or not we're going to have a quorum and we don't have to sit around and wait for it. I also, in the spirit of attendance, I would like for us to consider something that helps us to govern the missing consecutive meetings, like no call, no show. As you all know, I have a human resources background, and no call, no show at work is terms for termination, but we can't do that here. But I would like some consideration to be given so that, for instance, 2 years ago, I believe it was, we had a council member who stopped coming to meetings, stopped showing up, stopped communicating, just pretty much abandoned the seat for all intent and purposes. So I would like for us to consider whether or not we can put something in here that says that if someone is consecutive with a no call, no show, that is taken as abandonment of their seat. And then what options do we have to follow on with that would be a question for the town attorney. So all of this is under attendance. And so I would just like to add a section about attendance. And those are the things that I'd like for us to discuss for consideration with the attorney's guidance.
Ms. Pennick, did we put something in there, I think, about if somebody were I thought we had, last time we talked about putting something in there, I guess if people were gonna miss the meeting.
I don't recall that, but you don't really have the ability to deal with an abandonment of a seat unless you go through a legal process. But I'll be glad to come back to you next week.
Okay.
If that would be helpful with some clarification.
And Mayor, if I may, I think your memory is in regarding electronic participation. So members are required to give at least 24-hour notice if they are seeking electronic participation. So that does deal with being physically present, but not quite totally absent.
Town manager is correct. That's correct, yes.
To that point, I'm sorry, as a follow-on to what you were mentioning, I also wanted to know, is it still necessary that we provide the alternative for electronic attendance unless it's because we're out of the pandemic, we're all in person now, and I know that was added for convenience of our council members, but is that something that we want to move forward with as the town has to be willing to accommodate that on a whim, or is that something that we should consider on a case-by-case basis, special circumstances?
Mr. Mayor, if I might, generally, the council has to approve the concept of remote electronic participation. And you have decided to do that, as the town managers indicated, by putting in certain provisions. You are not required to put those in there. So, but if you include them, either individually or with respect to an emergency, then you need to apply them equally to everyone. So if you would want to take a look before the next meeting, perhaps at section 3-3, which begins on page 4, that describes the current provisions with respect to electronic participation.
3.3.
May I?
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Saloni was first.
Yeah, just a comment. I would say I'm a fan of leaving the option for electronic meetings in here, only because like I know that with other boards, I know like with MBTA, they do have the option for electronic meetings. I know the General Assembly a year ago gave the provision for boards to meet electronically. They do have it more stringent where you can't meet consecutively if we wanted to introduce something like that, but I do think I like the option of having in there for people to have, in case people have emergencies, in case people have to go out of town, in case people are working, still leaves you the option to participate and not, neglect your duties here. So I am a fan of leaving electronic meetings as an option. If we need to. Yeah.
Mr. Fields.
Almost ditto what Ms. Miles said. I don't think now that with the board that we have before us, council we have before us, we'll have that issue hopefully. But for example, any type of travel things that may come about that if you're on travel for your job or something like, even though this is our job too, but sometimes things take you out of town for work and you still want to be included. I think that option should still be there.
All right, so if Ms. Pandick, if you can just, I guess, bring us a couple of draft policies for the next meeting to look at in that part.
I will provide you
You'll push your mic so they can hear you at home.
I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. I will provide you a summary succinctly of what you have right now, plus the additional provision, which it sounds like you don't want to incorporate, that allows for 2 electronic meetings per year. In addition.
No.
What I was understanding was you wanted to know the scope of what you could do and what you have.
Right, so she wanted a whole nother section just to talk about conduct with attendance.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry,
Yes.
separate from the electronic
Yes,
meetings.
yeah, that's separate.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. All right, so council, any other action comments on the rules of conduct?
So I didn't hear us discuss the part about the absences and the requirement to notify the mayor and the town manager. That's not in here. Is that the part? Okay, because you was talking electronically and that, so because I'm talking 2 different things.
I understand. Yes,
Okay.
and I will bring that back as well.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fields.
I'm sorry, Mayor, to keep chiming in. I want to lighten this up a little bit. I think for the audience and people that are watching, this is a good thing. It is a good thing for us to have rules and regulations and for any governing body, I'm sorry, my tongue got tied there, because it keeps us in order. And I think that's what you want. We always hear about transparency, so forth and so on. This will keep us in order as a council so we can better serve you. Thank you.
Okay, so we just, there's no action to be taken tonight. You just could bring it back at the next meeting.
That's correct. Is there anything else that I should bring back?
We also had a discussion is now where we talk about
Yeah,
the
you
pro
can put
temp.
that in.
Did we add the language for the pro temp and what a description of what that responsibility is and the limitations or authority of that
That's
position?
I will bring that back as well.
And then we actually meet next week versus next meeting, which is usually 2 weeks. So do you need more time? Because I know you're kind of just throwing this at you and then usually you have 2 weeks.
Sure, I'd love to have 2 weeks, but if Ms. Hill and Mr. Rogers will be patient with me, we'll see if we can bring it back to you next week.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Our next action item will actually, we're gonna postpone that until next week as well. For the appointment of boards, we're gonna look for alternate positions. And so with that said, that concludes today's meeting. And this meeting is now adjourned.